youtube.com/MayhewMayhem. That's youtube.com/MayhewMayhem.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I am your host, my name is Michael Mayhew, and I am here with my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm James, and with us is this Sloppy Joe.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Greg, and we are once again graced with the presence of everybody's favorite bitch boy,
Scott.
30 Minutes of Mayhem is available on YouTube, iTunes, Android, Stitcher, and Spreaker. All you have to do is search MayhewMayhem, that's MayhewMayhem, and make sure you rate us 5 stars.
Also, you can help us afford to continue doing the show by donating to 30 Minutes of Mayhem via PayPal. Just use the email address in the description, 30minutesofmayhem@gmail.com.
And as I said, welcome to 30 Minutes of Mayhem, the podcast your mother can be ashamed of. And tell me, Scott, why is this the podcast your mother can be ashamed of?
Because bears slaughter people when they're camping?
That is exactly correct. Okay, so before we get started here, I want to tell you guys a real quick story that I personally am ashamed of. So my girlfriend and I at the time were at her house, and we know that there's a very short amount of time before her mother is going to arrive at the house. And so she starts screwing around with me a little bit, you know, trying to get my D hard. And of course she succeeds. It wasn't that hard to do because I have this weird thing for like satin material, but like I really don't want to get into why that happens because I don't really know why I get turned on by satin material when it's rubbed against me. It's weird, but you know, that's why I can't cross-dress or anything like that. I would be a very, very, very terrible drag queen because if that touched me, I'd be just full-blown erection the whole time. Although my D is small, that has been noted that it is small. It would probably come untucked in the manner of breaking through the tape unless I use some really good duct tape. But I digress. Back to my story. So she's just straight up tells me she's trying to get it in. She wants that D, and I'm like, yeah, we definitely don't have time before your mother gets here. And she says, I guarantee we do. And I said, I guarantee I don't want to get fucking caught. So, no. And she's like, well, what if we don't have time? Because she starts placing a bet with me. She's like, what if we don't have time and we have to be quick about it and get, you know, not so much getting caught, you know, out of the situation really quick or whatever hustle that you can do, or you can have anything you want. And I said, what? One thing with no limits? And she said, yeah. I said, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. She's like, all right. So how about 2 things? I said, 2 things, no limits. She says, yes. And I said, no limits at all. Anything's on the table. And she's like, yes. And because I'm a fucking idiot, I still turned it down because I was too afraid to get caught. The main reason why I turned it down mainly was because I didn't want to get caught, but it was also because I knew that because this bet was on the table and I wanted those 2 things with no limits, that I would probably like put it in and be like, and just finish right then and there on the spot and be like, God damn it, and I'd lose the bet. And then it would be completely pointless. So I end up turning it down, and she just jerks me off instead because she was just in the mood and I turned her down. And I'm ashamed of myself for doing that because I feel like now I should have taken that bet and I could have won and got 2 things with no limits. So that is the reason why this is the podcast your mother can be ashamed of, because that is something that I am ashamed of. I hate
You should
myself.
be.
I know.
You should be ashamed.
I fucking am.
Jesus, what are you, dumb?
I am fucking retarded.
Some people wait all their life to
For
just...
get that card
Yeah.
that says no limits,
All-
and I could have had 2.
All good. No limits.
So fucking.
Yeah, I've lost all respect for you, Mike. We're not friends anymore.
Yeah, Greg must hate the fuck out of you.
I hate the fuck out of myself so much. Okay, so on that note, aside from me being ashamed of myself and everybody hating me at this point, get ready to hate me even more because it's time to bust out your tinfoil hats because the government is about to fuck you in your ass. Before you proceed, go ahead and put those tinfoil hats on because the government is coming to get you. Or at least that's kind of what we're gonna talk about here on this episode. So our first topic is aliens. Do they exist? We've talked about Bigfoot before, and in the discussion about Bigfoot back on episode 50, Greg, you said that you feel like Bigfoot is less likely than ghosts and aliens, and I believe it's in the episode I agree with you that aliens are the most possible of existing because of how gigantic the universe is
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, what are the chances that we are the only life forms in the entire universe?
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I
Well-
still believe that there's alien life out there, and I really hope to God that I get to live to see the day that we make contact, or at least if I do live to see the day that we make contact, I hope to God it's with aliens that, you know, don't want to fucking annihilate us.
It's the
Yeah.
reptilians. They're gonna come and enslave us all, Greg.
So
It will be not peaceful.
it's just like, not only like what will they look like, Greg also fears that when they come down, they'll rip open his skin zipper. So do you fear more of being enslaved, eradicated, or raped to death by an alien?
For the last one, is the alien hot?
Well,
I mean that's
it's a
all
man.
that matters.
It's a man.
Male, that's
It's a
right.
male alien raped.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Enslaved, eradicated, or raped to death by an alien. Which is
Wait, is the alien hot or not?
it's man. So if you think whichever way you want to take it, you're either raped to death by an alien, human race eradicated, or you're enslaved by them. Which for you, Greg, is worse?
Well,
The alien looks like Hugh Jackman. That's a good looking guy.
Hugh
There we go.
Jackman is he's got his claws coming out. He's sticking them into your rib cage and then forcibly fucking you to death.
yeah, that's not my ideal way to go. Just say out of all of those, I would probably have to say the worst outcome would probably be rape to death. Absolute worst way to go. Well, one of the worst ways to go. I mean, I could think of a bunch of others, but I mean, the topic isn't worst ways to die. It's aliens, and we just happen to intersect on that. So, whatever.
Just
but
exactly like they were gonna intersect your butt cheeks. Now, like I was saying, is the chances of us being the only life forms in the fucking universe is basically, I feel like, near zero. Now, who knows what the hell they'll look like? They could look exactly like us. They could look slightly different than us. You know what I mean? They could look. They could be, as Scott said, they could be fucking lizards for all we know. But I feel like, you know, it could look like a reptile from fucking Mortal Kombat come out and they could spit acid on us and kill us that way. I have no idea what they could look like, but it's just like, what are the chances that we are the only life forms in the fucking entire universe?
There's got to be something else out there. Like you said, there is a lot of space out there. Maybe in some other galaxy or whatnot, there might be more advanced life forms out there, maybe. And maybe
Why
we
not?
will see them one day.
Why not right at home? Why not in the galaxy? Finding more highly intelligent races that are way more advanced than us.
That's one way that people always take it, is they're more advanced than us. What if they're just starting out? If they're like basically like our caveman forms, you know, we happen to discover them.
There could be an intermixing here within our galaxy. Like there could be another race that is alongside with us technologically and socially. In fact, this actually brings up a memory.
One night you were walking out in the street and this bright ass light comes down around you. Next thing you know, you wake up, you're in your house, and you had something shoved in your ass.
Typical abductee story. Yes. I can get into a whole lot of that, but no, this one was like it was.
You ever realize, not to cut you off, Scott? You ever realize most of the people that tell the abduction stories are like, so there I was down there, and then this big ass bright light just come down right around me, and I was like, wow, well, goddamn it, what the hell is this shit? Next thing I know, he is fucking me in my ass with some goddamn metal things, and they got the big old eyes and the green and shit. I was like, oh goddamn it, they got me. Now them goddamn Asian looking motherfuckers. You ever realize that everyone that tells the abduction stories sound like that?
Jeez.
Actually,
like, what the fuck?
It might have been their next door neighbor.
Right? Goddamn, the hills have eyes type fucking wrong turn type shit. That's what they got. Goddamn. They got goddamn raped by them.
A part of the theory behind the reason why people get abducted is because this extraterrestrial species is actually taking the eggs and sperm of the human race. And some have even gone further because this specific species known as the Greys, their genetic material is actually deteriorating, and so they need our genes in order to help their race.
But why would you take the genes of the dumbest human beings on the face of the planet, though? Like, wouldn't you want to be like after like Stephen Hawking or fucking like Bill Gates or some shit and like abduct him? You know, it's survival of the fittest, right? Like Darwin, you know, survival of the fittest or
They
whatever.
abduct morons
They need
because it's more
strong.
fun.
They probably need strong genes, not to like, because you said like Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking has like a disease, and that
True.
genetic,
Very, very true.
the genetic schematics are like implanted in the DNA, and so if they took his genes, then they would have
Yeah, the chances of that falling, and then that's very true. And I say, sir, touche. And
So they're gonna pick up the inbred motherfuckers. Is
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah. So
basically the stronger types.
maybe they're not going for a mental strength type thing. They're going for more a physical strength type thing. Because if you don't dare to talk like this, clearly you're not mentally strong enough.
I feel
apparently.
like if there's something out there, like close to us, we would have found it already. But I also feel like if there's something out there and we found it already, the government wouldn't tell us anyways.
Well, not to defend the government, because I know Greg is a person that's not a very big fan of the government, not to defend them. But if that information come out, there would be seriously widespread panic in the entire fucking world, because you're raised to believe, more or less, that we're the only ones in existence. And if all of a sudden, fuck you, you're wrong, these motherfuckers fly goddamn ships, come down onto our planet, and there's nothing we can fucking do about it, you know, we try to shoot them down, but they're way more advanced than what we are, people would freak the fuck out and start killing each other into fucking days, goddamn apocalypse, all that shit. So, not to defend the government, but I feel like us not knowing the truth is better because of the way that the mass population would act. Greg, you haven't said much. Why don't you weigh in here?
Basically, all I have to say is that I want to be known as the first guy to ever fuck an alien, so that way when I walk down the street, people can look at me and go, "Homeboy done fucked a Martian." But no, seriously,
No, seriously, that's what I want to do, guys. That's all I give a shit about. I mean, if we haven't got the point across yet.
Number one on his bucket list.
Now,
fucking alien.
I mean, that's something that you don't really know that's on your bucket list. What though? Like, if they're like giant lizard esque people, like I said, maybe they look like Reptile from Mortal Kombat. Do you like still try to find their reproductive organ and put it in?
I'm willing to take that risk.
I wouldn't
for something.
try.
Well, you like you don't know.
All serious.
There could be like blades or fucking teeth or something up in there. So my suggestion for you, Greg, would be to slide like maybe like a water bottle or maybe an Alabama black snake or something up in there first, so that you don't put your D in there and then it just get blended up like like you're trying to make a fucking smoothie or something and your dick gets turned into a smoothie. I don't think you want that to happen, so you might want to put something else up in there first because you don't know.
No, I mean,
we were just talking about, you know, the government not telling you about the possible existence of aliens, and my belief. So why they don't do that is because there would be mass widespread panic. And as I said to begin with, make sure that you got your tinfoil hats on, and for now, you definitely need to make sure you have those on. You might want to put another layer onto your tinfoil hat. This next topic is about the government watching over you with satellites or drones. Now, do you feel that this is an issue for you personally? Do you feel like they're actually invading your privacy, or do you feel like it's more of a national security type thing, or just how do you feel about it?
All they're seeing in me is me fucking beating my meat, so
I wish that I could say
I don't really care.
I wish I could say the same, but they would have to have some high optic fucking telescopic, I should say, fucking shit on there to be able to fucking see mine from space.
So they need to be in the same room as you, you're saying?
Yeah, with a telescope. And so that's all I'm saying about that. I personally, I don't have a problem with it because I feel like it's serving more good than it is bad.
Yeah.
Well, with satellites, obviously, you know, you got all the fucking advancements that we take advantage of, or take for granted, I should say, based off of fucking technology that involves satellites. So that obviously is a fucking fantastic thing. People have issues with drones, and I feel like as long as we're not bombing people in our own country with drones, I'm fine with drones too. I feel like it's more of a national security thing because if drones and or satellites or whatever could detect, like, say, a missile strike or another like Pearl Harbor type situation, to where if anyone got the balls to try to do something like that again, the technology then versus the technology now, like their detection then wasn't as good as what it is now. But if they tried something like that nowadays, we'd pick it up before they even got close enough, and they wouldn't make it near our shore. So I feel like it's more good than bad. So I honestly do not have a problem with it.
I feel like with a lot of things, it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, it does allow us to see what bad people who would threaten the country are doing, but on the other hand, I also feel like it can very easily be used to spy on people who the government could consider quote-unquote undesirable. Not even just terrorists, I mean like people in our country, like people who have
Enemies of the
spoken
state.
out against the country and who have said things like against the people in power, people who don't like what the government is doing. I feel like it could also be used to spy on them. I mean, I'm a hardcore privacy advocate, and I mean that is something that I've always had a hard time with. Now with drones, I don't have as hard of a time with, because I think the whole drones thing is bullshit. Drones are used far too much in warfare currently, and I think one of the reasons why they're being used is because it's a great way for the government to just send something out to go kill a bunch of people. Drone strikes are used far too liberally, basically. A lot of people might say, well, that keeps troops off the ground, and therefore, there aren't as many casualties in that. The problem is that drone strikes are not quite as precise as human combatants are, and every time there's a drone strike, there are usually a lot more civilian casualties than there are if there were like actual people on the ground. I mean, there aren't as many soldier fatalities, that's true, but at the same time, I mean, we get so much goddamn collateral damage from the drones that it's like actually doing more harm than sending people in.
Don't you feel like there's an acceptable level of collateral damage if the target is indeed hit and it is a high level target?
Basically, how I feel about collateral damage is that it's acceptable if it's within certain boundaries. If there was absolutely nothing you could do to save a person, then yeah, there's gonna be no way around it. I mean, you gotta take the dude out. I mean, you can't talk him down, you can't let him get away, because then he's gonna just kill more people.
All right, say that we had drone technology back World War II era, and we could drop a drone strike on Adolf Hitler. Okay, well, which would be kind of almost the equivalent to a nuke, but not nearly as destructive like we did with Japan. But let's say you could drop one, you knew where Hitler was, you knew exactly the building that he was in, and you could end what he was going to do with a drone strike, but you're going to kill 500 innocent people.
500 seems rather excessive for...
Well, they bombed cities with people already in them.
Right,
during World War II, so that's
right. It still happens to this day. But I'm saying if you take him out, it prevents him from creating all the concentration camps. None of that happens. All the bad shit that he doesn't happen because you prevent it with one drone strike. But the catch is you have to kill 500 innocent people along with him. Is it worth it at that point for you?
It's so hard to choose because, I mean, sometimes the end doesn't always justify the means, but on the other hand, the fact that he, would have gone on to, well, I mean, he did, but, I mean, if you did this, you would be preventing him from murdering, 6 million people.
It's kind of like the kill one to save 100 type situation, except for you're killing 501 to save millions of people. I mean, I feel like in that situation, the collateral damage is worth it. And where my argument comes into that is, I'm not saying that there'll be another Adolf Hitler, because I don't feel like the chances of someone gaining that much without anybody doing anything, stepping in first, is practically impossible. But to be fair, we can't say that it's completely impossible. So as bad as this is about to sound, I would rather the collateral damage be as high as whatever the example I was using, whatever 500, than risk thousands of troops' lives when a drone could do the job that it's going to take them months to do, and some of them die in the process for something that could have been taken care of with a little bit of collateral damage in the process. Like I said, there is a level of acceptable collateral damage. It's a matter of just weighing it, in my opinion. Like, what is the level that's acceptable? If you still have your tinfoil hat on and you haven't blown your head off at this point in time, what I would suggest is that you go ahead and do that after you rate us 5 stars, you subscribe and do all that stuff, donate, then you can go ahead and blow your tinfoil hat clean off your head with that shotgun you have sitting there, Kurt Cobain style. So, subliminal messages. The government's out to get you, you're terrified, yada yada, they're hiding the fact that aliens exist from you, they're spying on you. Are they implanting subliminal messages in music, TV shows, or any other sort of advertising to make you believe what they want you to believe? Thing I've heard is the subliminal messaging doesn't work if you're not willing to let it work, like being hypnotized. Like, you cannot be hypnotized if you're not willing.
Yeah, I
to be
remember
hypnotized.
because I'm taking a psychology class this semester, and I do remember saying that there are certain personality types who also can't be hypnotized. They just physically can't.
Now, the subliminal messaging, some of it is a little bit more obvious to where it's not subliminal messaging per se, but it's, for example, a lot of it could just be perceived as advertising, but really what it's doing is getting you to do what it wants you to do, which is basically what advertising is. If you're like going to see a movie at the movie theater and they interject anything about like candy or soda or anything of that when you're at the movie theater, it's more likely to get you to purchase if you already haven't. I can't remember the testing that they did on that, but they found it to that is one of the things to be true. You're presented with this situation to where you can purchase the soda and the candy, obviously, like a movie theater, and when they present things about soda and candy, not necessarily telling you to go buy they're not saying go buy a Coke, but like they present you something where you see the Coke product or the snow caps or whatever, any sort of candy, and because you're seeing it and you know that right outside your door at the movie theater it's there, you could just go buy it right now, that you're more inclined to actually do so.
I actually just read something about it. The movie theater thing, they would put drink Coca-Cola or eat popcorn or something like that. They flash it a few different times throughout like the previews, or not like the actual previews, but where they have
between
the
the
ice
previews
cubes drop into the cup and then the Coke fills it up.
Yep.
And then I also read that advertising companies do it like refreshments and stuff like that. They'll have like a sweaty boxer, or they'll be like it'll flash like thirsty or something like that, and you'll be thirsty, I guess, after watching the commercial. And then you'll go get something to drink, I guess. I also read it'll only work if you're already gonna do it. Like, if you're, like, hungry or something, and you see, like, a commercial for an Arby's, something from Arby's, then you're going to go do it, I guess.
When Greg sees Arby's commercials, it makes him have flashbacks to a very terrible time in his life.
What happened, Greg?
It's like Greg's own personal PTSD. Every time that he hears about Arby's, he has flashbacks of that fateful camping trip in D.C. Well, I wanted to say about advertising real quick. Yeah, that's the whole point of advertising, is to get you to fucking do something. As someone that studied graphic design and advertising, and if you watch the show Mad Men, that's like the whole point of what they're doing is the advertising is to try to get you to buy a product or whatever, even if you don't really feel like initially that you need the product. Like, if the advertising is good enough, it implants the idea in your mind that you need that product, or that you should try that product. And that's basically, if you really want to swing it, that's basically what subliminal messaging is. It's to get you to do something that you may not initially feel like you need to do, and that's what advertising does. Gets you to buy something or do something that you didn't initially think about on your own. With like the Jedi mind trick of these are not the drones you're looking for. Is that subliminal messaging?
That's what I've always thought growing up, but what you guys have spelled out through your dialogue sounds a lot more believable. Never really done any research on subliminal advertisement, and this is actually very interesting what you guys have brought to the table.
Your opinion doesn't matter if you haven't done any study on it, so get the fuck out. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Jesus
GTFO.
Christ.
Praise his name, hallelujah. No. Well, I was born on Christmas Day, so who knows? I might actually be the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Except for the fact that Jesus wasn't born on Christmas Day, but you
Well,
know,
yeah, that's
some may even argue that he wasn't born at all, but those people are those people, so it is what it is. Let's try a Jedi mind trick real quick. You will rate us 5 stars. You will subscribe, and most importantly, you will donate to the show. Let me know if that worked in comments.
I don't think so. And I'm
That's-
just gonna go ahead and drop some scientific knowledge on you guys. But as it turns out, subliminal messaging doesn't work. Like there's
Smoke.
actual studies that prove
Smoke.
that
Are you smoking?
Yeah.
Anyway.
that prove that subliminal messaging actually has no impact on a person whatsoever. I think it was like sometime in the early 80s when like fucking Judas Priest was being sued by the parents of these 2 kids who were supposedly like told to commit suicide by like this message on one of their albums if you play it backwards or
Yeah.
something
Well,
like that. And these
It goes
Oh,
far.
go
It goes farther back than that actually. During the Red Scare time period or whatever, there were certain things that you weren't allowed to do and shit in movies and whatnot, and
Yeah.
they were talking about subliminal messaging then to get
well,
you
yeah,
to
they were talking about
convert
subliminal messaging then.
and be a
Well,
communist and all that shit.
Yeah,
So
but what I was getting at was that when that happened, these 2 scientists who had heard about this and were probably also getting like sick of constantly hearing about people saying that if you play Stairway to Heaven backwards, it's Satan telling you to spread your ass cheeks so he can fuck you. But so they wanted to see if putting subliminal messages and not just music, but like any kind of subliminal images in like movies where it's like there's like a quick flash of something in between 2 frames of like a film or something, see if that had any effect on anybody. Everybody who they experimented on didn't catch any of the messages, and they didn't do any of the things that the messages supposedly told them that they had to do. They just completely ignored them, and they eventually determined that the brain isn't capable of receiving messages like that. For a message to sink in, it would have to like be presented clear as day to the brain, basically. Having it backmasked or like just having a quick flash of a picture in between frames or something like that, that's not going to alter somebody's mind or anything. It's not going to brainwash them because the brain isn't going to pick it up as anything intelligible, so the brain just ignores it.
now, Greg, you were saying about playing Stairway to Heaven backwards, and it summons the devil to come and spread your cheeks and fuck your ass. Is that basically? I don't. Okay, so now to be fair, have you ever played Stairway to Heaven backwards, and has the devil ever shown up and fucked your ass?
Nope.
See, so you've never played Stairway to Heaven
No,
backwards?
I've played Stairway to Heaven backwards, but the devil never showed up.
How did you
can
ever do
find
that?
videos online now of the song being played backwards.
Well, here's the thing. Does it actually sound like there's someone...
No, it's complete gibberish.
Yeah, I thought so.
It's usually people were just like, I mean, it was the 70s when people came up with this shit, so they were probably just really, really fucking stoned out of their minds, and they accidentally played the record backwards, and they're like, dude, telling me to, like, worship Satan or something.
Now, see, maybe the recording that you're hearing played backwards isn't accurate. Maybe it's not being played at the correct speed. Maybe you need the vinyl yourself so that the devil can sodomize you when you play it backwards.
Why would I want him to?
Well, what I'm saying is to play devil's advocate. Haha. The thing that I'm saying is that if you personally haven't taken the vinyl yourself and played it backwards to find out if you'll be sodomized by the devil, can you really say that that's bullshit because you've never actually tried? See what I'm getting at
No, I
there?
think it's still bullshit.
Well, between this week and next week, I want you to find a vinyl and play it backwards and let us know next week if you get sodomized by Satan himself. That does it for another episode of 30 Minutes of Mayhem. I have been your host. My name is Michael Mayhew, and I have been here with my co-hosts,
James.
Greg.
And Scott.
Make sure to check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, Android, all of those places, and rate us 5 stars. Donate to us on PayPal, because you want to. And that does it for this episode. If you haven't taken off your tinfoil hats yet, or blown your brains out yet, now would be the time. And that's it. Later, fellas.